you extra hours. Then you don't have to do, another class because biology is just so much fun. All right, let me look. Oh, my PowerPoint didn't upload. That's not cool. I'm going to re-upload that. So that is the question about blah, 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 blah. That is your question about the links, about the lab. We will do the lab. Let's just do the lab together tomorrow. Deal? So we'll do tomorrow's lesson today, and we'll do the lab together tomorrow since it's being funky. And then it'll just be fun because who doesn't love a lab day? Oh, thank you. Say, I'm not wearing my sweatshirt or t-shirt this morning.
Labs. I remember doing labs all along, like back last year in physical science. They were the absolute banger of labs at the time, and I think they still will be to this day. But I might be going ahead of myself. But a quick question.
Yes.
For labs, like last year, labs you only had to submit them once, and that was it. For this year, could you resubmit for a lab if you mistakenly do something wrong on accident?
Absolutely. Yes. Okay.
Thank goodness you have blessed us again.
And there aren't going to be a ton of labs. I used to be a lab report person, but honestly, with biology being a tested subject, I really have found that it's really beneficial to be in the content a little bit more than doing labs. But we'll see. They're fun too. So I'm always up for changing. I don't have a ton in your curriculum, but we can always add them. But yes, with all assignments, with the exception of unit tests, because there has to be a little bit of rigidity. But with most assignments, I'm going to tell you, I would rather you spend the time and learn the material that you got incorrect and go back and find. Yep, you get 2 attempts there. I'd rather you go back and find the wrong answers and correct yourself and move forward with confident knowledge than have that incorrectness. Was that right? Was that wrong? Why was that wrong? Stuck in your head. So that is my opinion on that. Sweet. All right. I need a reader this morning. Who would like to read our goals? Now, this is, if you're looking at our calendar for the week, this will be tomorrow's stuff, but we'll switch days.
According to the reading rotation, Ireland shall be first, and then she'll read the slide, and I will be next. Ari will be set third, and then Olivia J will be fourth. So Ireland will be first.
Perfect. Ireland, good. Fire away, girl.
Today's goals. Atoms are found in all carbohydrates. What are some examples of simple and complex carbohydrates? What is the role of simple and complex carbohydrates in your body? What characteristics do starch and
glycogen.
What?
Glycogen
share? How does the structure of a starch molecule relate to its function?
Yes, way to go. Thank you so much for reading those, and lots of tricky words in there. So even braver to take a stab at all of those. So I want you to use your whiteboard tools, and I want you to simply let's not annihilate the board, but let's circle, underline words that we recognize or are familiar with. So we're familiar with carbohydrates. What else are we familiar with? Glycogen, starch, atoms. Good. I was hoping somebody would do that. What else? Structure. Ooh, structure and function. Remember, we had a whole lesson on how the structure of something has to do with how it's used or its function. Good. Ooh, complex and simple. Good. You know what a characteristic is. Awesome. This is a good start. So when you think, let's take this word right here, carbohydrate. When I say carbohydrate, what do you think of? Food. Good. What kind of food? Bread. Food or drink? Pasta. Good. Gatorade. Cake. Powerade. Starchy foods. Keep coming. Fire away. What did I say? Carbohydrate. What do you think of? Potato. Yes, thank you. I always think of potato. Ooh, Dustin, sugar. Good. These are all excellent. These are all excellent. All right. So today I love this lesson because we are getting a little bit of what I call food science. And who doesn't love food, right? I love food. So we're going to start with one of my favorite food groups, and that is a carbohydrate. Our carbohydrate is also a macro molecule. A macro molecule. When you break this word down, we can cut it right here at macro and molecule. So let's dissect. I told you we dissect a lot of words today, or in biology. What does macro mean? Big. Good. Macro. Miniature is very close. What miniature is the opposite?
Yeah, micro. I thought macro was the complete opposite. Like
So
micro is the opposite. Micro is the opposite of macro. Like macro is like the big chungus trademark of literally everything really. And a molecule is like a molecule like has like atoms in it that like bond, like a water molecule, for example. But in this case, we're working on a macromolecule, which is like a little larger molecule than you expect, really. And yes, if you're wondering, I confused the two. Micro is small. Macro is big chungus trademark.
good. And that's totally fine. Like that's what we do here. We learn. And I know a lot of times these little like almost prefixes to words do get tricky. So that's why we review them. When we look at the word macro, it tells us big or large. We look at molecule, we're exactly what Pip said. It's going to be multiple atoms bonded together. All right. So, and a lot of times it's not just the same atom. So you're going to see, you know, a carbon, a hydrogen, a nitrogen, whatever it is, all put together. All right. And they make a molecule. So a macromolecule is exactly what it sounds like, a big molecule. All right. And the very first big molecule that we're going to look at today is our carbohydrate. All right. Carbs are often known as comfort foods. Have you ever heard of carbs known as comfort foods? And yes, those of you that are just popping on a little bit late, the lab is not working. We're going to do the lab in class tomorrow together. Okay. What is a comfort food to you? I think one of my favorite comfort foods are chicken and noodles. Like a homemade chicken and noodle. Like the big, thick noodles and mashed potatoes. Ooh, chocolate ice cream. Banana. Ooh, mac and cheese is a comfort food. Chocolate, yes. This bread also looks like a comfort food to me. My daughter loves KFC mashed potatoes too. Awesome. Cookies. Yes. So why do we call them comfort foods? Well, that's a good healthy choice, Ireland. It's better than better one that I like to reach for. They can increase, what they do is they increase what we call serotonin levels in our brains. All right. This is what the chemical serotonin is released from the back of our brains, from our brainstem. It's a chemical that makes us feel happy and help us feel comforted. All right. So you aren't wrong when you say something like maybe carbs make you feel good, or your comfort food comes from a very heavy carb, because what those carbs actually do is they release chemicals that make you happy. All right. What is that chemical that is released, has been triggered? Because really what a carbohydrate is a saccharide. A saccharide. All right. It's another slicing and dicing day in biology with words. We're going to do it a lot today. Saccharide. What is a saccharide? Ooh, yes, Caden's right. Mono means one. Right on the money. What is a saccharide? Trickier one, isn't it? Just say saccharide out loud, even if it's not on the microphone.
When I think of saccharide, I think it's like something like sweeter or something, like a sugar, like Dustin said, just like one sugar. I've never really heard of the cat shush. I've never really heard of the word before.
Right. Saccharide. Everybody say saccharide. All right, saccharide. Saccharides are sugar.
Saccharides are sugar, eh?
All
My
right.
cat even says that too.
Oh,
Here's the yapper.
the kitty's saying saccharides. Hi,
Yes,
kitty.
she is.
All right, so a saccharide equals sugar. Everybody just type that in there. You won't need to do anything except for recognize that. All right.
Saccharide equals sugar, baby.
Oh, I'm
great.
sorry. Saccharides are sugars. Good. So glucose and fructose, all these other things that we hear that end in the os, os, these are types of sugars. Again, we don't need to like go into and we're not going to the extreme food science, and we're not going into like an extreme health lesson. But what I need you to recognize is that mono means one, and anytime you see saccharide, I want your brain to think sugar. All right, just this association. No, this stuff is not for the lab. We're going to do the lab tomorrow in class because we're having some issues with the Adobe. It's Adobe Reader, I think. Yep, no problem. All right, so mono means one. Saccharide means what, class? What does saccharide mean? Yes, there you are. Sugar. Good. One sugar. And anytime you'll see a question, and you will see these, like on your end of course exams that say glucose or fructose, all these oses at the end, those are indicators of saccharides. All right. So anytime you hear one of those ose words, I want you to associate it with a saccharide and associate it with a sugar. All right. Glucose is the most common carbohydrate converted into energy by living things. All right. So anything alive, from plants to us, right? From plants back here to us, the most common thing we're going to be talking about is glucose. All right. So glucose is often going to be that OS word that we use. We are doing the lesson we're doing Wednesday's lesson today. Okay. We're doing Wednesday's lesson today, and we're going to do the lab together tomorrow. All right. Okay. So that is what I want you to think. When you think of carbohydrates, what do I want you to think of? Carbohydrates are what? Yes. Okay, everybody type carbs equal sugars.
Carbs equals sugars. And what I mean by sugars, I mean not only just like a molecule of a sugar molecule, but I'm also going to have to sing this. Sugar, yes please, would you come and put it down on me?
Yes.
Baby,
Oh,
'cause
she's
I need little love sympathy. Yeah, you show me good loving, make it alright. Need a little sweetness in my life. Sugar, yes please. Would you come and put it down on me? That's what I think of sugar, literally.
That was awesome. That was awesome. So good. So good. You know what you should do, Pip?
Right, thank you. Thank you.
You and Jake should make the song align with the biology lyrics.
Yes, yeah.
So
I'm
that
not
it has
gonna
to
lie.
be with carbs and sugars.
Yes. This
It
is
could
why I'm
be
a joy to have you in your class, you know?
Yeah. That's awesome. Thank you for making that fun, Pip. I love that. All right. So anytime I talk about carbs, I want you to just type sugar right in the chat. All right. Every time I type carbs, it's gonna be like when you go to the doctor and they take your knee and you go "Wonk," and your knee goes "Whoop," right? Every time. Every time you think of carbs, I want you to have that knee-jerk reaction and be like sugar. Yes, Justin, I know. There are multiple links for class, and we're going to get those cleaned up and fixed up. I told everybody I was playing hide and seek, but we're glad you're here. Awesome. So all you've missed so far, Justin, is that simple carbohydrates are monosaccharides. Saccharide means sugar, all right? So if monosaccharide means one sugar, then what does disaccharide mean, class? Two sugars. See, you learn this one time and then you're all of a sudden genius. You learn you know them all. All right. So disaccharides, are they going to be bigger molecules than monosaccharides or smaller? Are disaccharides going to be bigger than monosaccharides or smaller? Yes. High five. They are going to be bigger, right? Because they are two sugars that are put together. And even though they are bigger sugars, look at the end of those words. What do they end in? What do those words end in? There's more oses, all right? So they are disaccharides, but we know they are sugars. We know they are saccharides because they still end in that ose, all right? We just know that they are bigger. And when they are bigger, they have more what? What holds our atoms together? The molecules do, but how the molecules bond together? How do they connect? Like Legos. Yes. Covalent or ionic bonds. All right. So atoms combine with bonds. Everybody type that. Just in case we missed that. That's why they bond.
Atoms combine with bonds either covalently or ionically. I thought I said ironically for a second, but mostly with covalent ones. They're the strong ones. You need those. Like me and Ori or Ireland are covalents. We share the pizza and stuff. Or with Holden, Hope, or I don't know, Olivia, Jay, they sometimes steal things. But let's just say we never steal. We're not ionic bonds. We're all covalent bonds.
Poor Hope. She'll forever have a bad rap invite. No, I'm just kidding, Hope. Thank you for letting us pick on you, you little pizza thief, you. Awesome. So, disaccharides, they are the same thing. They are still carbohydrates, and they are still what class carbohydrates are?
Sugars, everyone.
Sugars. Everyone types
Want me to sing it again?
Yeah, I know. We're being redundant. But when you leave this class, I promise you're going to remember that carbohydrates equal sugar. What do you think we need sugar for living things? Oh, thank you, Ren. Yes. We need sugar for energy. Energy. We need, and every living thing needs energy. And I'm not just talking about like, I'm tired today, right? I know she did. She brought me a little rainbow that she made me. Yes. So we need energy. Why do we need energy though? Not the energy we feel. Good. What do we need fuel for? What do our bodies need fuel for? Just so that we can feel good? Yes, Dustin. Cell function, our day-to-day activities, absolutely. So we are made up of bazillions of cells. All right. Each one of those cells operate independently on its own basis. And every single one of our cells in our body, what do they need? What do our cells need? They need energy. Where's that energy from?
The energy is from the glucose, you know?
Yes, it's from the glucose, which is a sugar, which is a what?
Glucose, which is a carb.
Carbohydrates. Carbohydrate. I love that you said that, Pip, because carbohydrates do get a really, really, really bad rap. What have you guys heard about carbohydrates in the health and fitness world?
Like, carbohydrates, if you like eat too many of them, it could cause health problems. Alongside, if you like eat too many like processed sugars, like apple, right? There is sugar in this. It's just natural sugar. So long as you're eating things in moderation, everything in life needs moderation, even the good things. Like the only sugar that's like bad, really, like processed sugars are mainly bad for you. And apparently, like everyone else is saying, like carbs usually store as fat, which is probably why, people tend to stay away from them and all that stuff. That it turns out they get a bad rep. I kind of feel bad that they get a bad rep. Like, not all carbs are bad. As long as you eat them in moderation, it'll be fine.
The one word that I absolutely adore that Pip used was moderation. Oh, I spelled it wrong. Moderation.
Moderation. That's funny.
Moderatino. All right, is moderation. Because there are health fad diets that actually cut out carbohydrates from your diet, some of them entirely. Your body needs carbohydrates. And I've seen fat come up in the chat too. But did you know your body also needs fat? Your body actually needs fat, but carbohydrates and fat get a really bad rap. But why do they get a bad rap? Why do carbohydrates and fats get a nasty like connotation about them?
You know, for fat, like too much can be unhealthy, like Hope said, like fat usually, like unsaturated fat and stuff like that could be bad for you, a little trans fats. And you know, the fats that are good, like polyunsaturated, monounsaturated, and just normal unsaturated fats in general, are like the good fats. Not all fats are bad, not all carbs are bad. It's just people misunderstand them and think that they're bad. But in moderation, like I said, and like Ireland said, you know, moderation. Everything in life in moderation. It's just you have to use moderation so that you, yes, I'm pointing at you guys, don't, you know, overindulge in something that could be bad for you if you take too much of it. Like carbs and fat, that some of it can be good for you, but too much of a good thing can be bad. So just one word, moderation. That's the key.
Too much of a good thing can be bad. And you're right. So we actually get some people gain weight, right? And because they overeat carbs, because they overeat fats. There are also people. I have a friend, okay? I have a friend that is overweight and she's trying to lose weight. And because she has under-eaten, which means because she has not eaten enough carbs and has not been eating enough fats for an extended period of time, guess what? She still can't lose weight. She actually has to eat more because her body is so afraid to let go of the fat in her body because her body thinks it's starving her. She's starving it. All right. So a lot of times people will be like, if you want to be healthy, if you want to lose weight, you need to stop eating carbs. You need to stop eating fats. And you're right. It's a very dangerous thing. Yes. Yes. So I actually am a part of a health program outside of teaching, but it's super important and it teaches people to eat enough. All right. Everybody type how tall they are into chat. Everybody type their height if they know it. I am
5'3", approximately 5'3", a bit taller than my mother, maybe.
I'm 5'2". I might not be quite to the 2. All right, so I'm 5'2", and Jacqueline is 6'2". Justin is 6 foot. Amari is 6'1".
I just want to tell you, if you're wondering, Joaquin is actually Natalio. It's just Joaquin's his middle name. He usually doesn't mind though, but Natalio is what I go by for him. If you're curious.
So sorry. I wish you could all change it to whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, I just call Joaquin Natalio because that was what he used to be called. I had class with him years ago.
Is that what you prefer, Natalia?
Just to clarify real quick, it's pronounced Joaquin.
Say that again.
That's how it's pronounced.
Can you say that again? I'm sorry.
Joaquin.
Oh,
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
sorry.
Yeah, Natalio. I'm sorry that you're confused. We just call you Natalio because I recognized first name you used back then.
Is that what you prefer to be called, Natalia? I'm going to call you guys whatever names you prefer. Regardless of names, what I really want to say through that is we are all different. We all have different body types, right? I'm super short. Some of you are super tall. Sure, Justin. What questions do you have? Go ahead and just type them in chat, and we'll try to get to them today. If not, we can try to get to them tomorrow. Okay. And happy birthday, Lily! Everybody, tell Lily happy birthday. All right.
Happy birthday! Oh, my mom also says that too.
Really quick though, before we wrap things up for the day, is we all have different body types. So a lot of that is going to be calculated initially from our height and our weight. All right. So, and a lot of it, mostly your height and your age. So our different heights are going to help us know how much of each food group that we need to healthily fuel our body. Does that make sense? So by knowing our height, we can have an indicator for how many carbs we need healthily. And then like Pip said, we'll get our main good carbs. Good carbs are going to really come from, not necessarily our not necessarily like our breads or noodles, all right, but more so from our whole foods. Okay. Awesome. So we're going to want to make sure that we eat compared to our body types. And if you what I'm talking about a little bit that I think is something that has worked for me is what I call macro counting. And that's where you are just making sure that you're actually eating enough, right? Because so many people in this country, you want to say they overeat, but they actually are under eating the foods that they really need for their body. All right. So to wrap up today, we've got carbon, right? One of the carbon or the organic molecules that we're talking about today is our carbohydrate. Our carbohydrate gives us what? Good. Carbs equal what? Energy. Carbs are sugar. Awesome. And carbohydrates are good, right? They don't have to have a negative connotation. So how do we feel today? Do we feel like we know what a carbohydrate is? All right, we did not go really over what 3 other atoms are in carbohydrates. We'll get there tomorrow. We went over simple and complex. All right, what we need to fuel our body. We didn't go over quite yet the carbohydrates, these two, the starch, the chemical stuff yet. All right. Good. Good. We will finish this up tomorrow and we will do our lab tomorrow together. Our water lab together. We will actually do tomorrow because some of us are having a hard time opening it. It might not be working and that's totally fine. Let's just do it together. It'll be a fun day of exploring and doing lab together.
A bit of a question. Like the lab for today says it's due at 9:30 a.m. today. It just says it's due at 9:30.
Well, it won't be due at 9:30. I'll change it in your.
All right. And Riker asked, do we have a quiz today?
I do not believe we have. Well, we have a quiz tomorrow. So if you feel comfortable and you're ready to do it today, if not, I will set both of those dates for, let's just say noon on Friday, or noon on Thursday. Let's do noon on Thursday. Okay, for the water lab and the next quiz. or that would be our mid-unit test.
I hear you, Ren. I hear you in the background. Also, I'm heading out for the day. I'll see you Wednesday, and I hope I get the right class at Wednesday. So yeah,
Yes.
peace out.
See you guys. Have a great day.